Hello, so my name is Era and I'm from Kosovo. And Monica has invited me today to present about Kosovo as a case study in honor of its independence, which was yesterday, 17th of February, for 14 years of independence. So I want to talk more about the background and the history of Kosovo and how it came to be towards the independence. So Kosovo previously was part of Yugoslavia as one of its constituent parts, which was comprising of 6 republics and 2 autonomous provinces. So historically, if we decide to go way back in time, Kosovo was part of Albania. It was all together, but then due to many treaties and conflicts, it got separated, and then it became an autonomous part of Serbia. Upon the breakup of Yugoslavia, which is when conflict mostly started within the Balkans, that's when the conflict with Serbia and Kosovo also begun. So basically in the middle of 1997, peaceful objection was followed by armed insurgency, where in 1998 Serbia officially began to attack Kosovo, and that's where the war and the conflict started, which lasted until 1999. So this conflict was very violent, and a lot of lives were lost. It was basically what people describe as an ethnic cleansing, which was tried by Serbia, or even a mass compulsion from the territory. So after international attempts, basically a lot of them failed to help Kosovo in any way, but what saved Kosovo and what kind of gave it its way towards independence is Nato, which we're also going to talk later on about the impact of Nato within Kosovo. So NATO began the bombings against Serbia in 1999, and they did not have any casualties of their own. So therefore, after that, the Serbian forces, they kind of just took their army back, and then years later, Kosovo was still very much struggling. It was not yet independent until 2008, 17th of February. So it was very, very late, and Kosovo is the newest country in Europe. So I was alive when I was 5 years old when the independence was declared, and I was there to see it, so it was very interesting. And then since then, close to 115 countries have recognized Kosovo as a sovereign state, and it has joined multiple international organizations. So the international community has supported Kosovo a lot throughout these struggles. However, we are still not very much politically recognized, and at the same time, the Republic of Kosovo is establishing a democratic and functional institutions, which basically had to be established from scratch, while the constitution is still, maybe a quarter of it is controlled by Serbia, and it is impossible to change the constitution without the unanimous vote of the Serbians. So even if half or more than a part of the parliament voted for yes to change the constitution, we cannot change it unless we get the votes of Serbia. So basically we consider it as an impossible task, because it's very hard to get those votes, because it would not be convenient for the Serbian rule. So the relationship with other European countries and Kosovo is mainly very good. Whenever we need something, we get aid, we have very good relations. Normally we need visas to go to these other countries, but they recognize Kosovo and the Kosovo passport, except for Serbia, Slovakia, Greece, Spain, Cyprus, and Romania, which do not recognize Kosovo. So we believe that this is mainly because of other political terms. For example, Serbia obviously does not recognize Kosovo yet. Peace talks have been made, but they've been going on for a really long time, and so far no progress has been really made. And other countries basically need to kind of to make a statement for other countries such as China or Russia, which have much power over these countries. So now we're going to talk about NATO. So NATO has been a leading peace support operation in Kosovo since June 1999 in support of wider and international efforts to build peace and stability in that area. However, we also had our own national army, which was called Kosovo Liberation Army, and also K4, which was established after NATO's 78th air bombing, against Milosevic's regime, which was the president of Serbia at the time. So after 77 days with no casualties, as I mentioned, NATO had prevailed and the troops had they had set back their troops, and about 1 million refugees now could go back to Kosovo after so many years. And because a lot of people during the war whether had to go to the military or they had to go to other neighboring countries such as North Macedonia or Montenegro, which is why in both of these countries there's a lot of Albanians even now. So after many years, this ethnic cleansing had been kind of reversed, although with a lot of casualties, which we still remember every day. And we're also going to talk about the role of the UN. So after the war ended in 1999, we did not have our own passports, we did not have our own country or constitution, we did not have anything until 2008. So what we had was the UN mission in Kosovo. We all had UN passports, which wasn't very helpful, which wasn't very strong, but it was the best we could get after a really hard time. So in Kosovo, UN volunteers range from writing press releases to giving political briefings to providing legal assistance to fixing computers or even treating wounds. So they have been spread through Kosovo a lot for the past years. And each and every day, 26 UN volunteers assist UNMIK in implementing its mandate throughout Kosovo. And also, the UN is in cooperation with NATO and OCSC and the EU, and they established a justice and security system in the territory of Kosovo. However, it's also important to mention that Kosovo is not part of the EU, but although it's been trying to, but one of the conditions is to fight war crimes, which Kosovo is doing right now, and at the same time make peace with Serbia, which is the more difficult part because not both countries agree. But we believe that future years we can see Kosovo develop more and more, maybe get more recognition, more independence, and hopefully one day just be like a better country. Thank you.